Hello and welcome to Women in Position YouTube channel. I am Renee and I am the founder of Women in Position, where we believe as leaders, as high achieving women, that we lead with our faith. And so today I wanted to, there's so many people that have contacted me or inboxed me or in some kind of way got in touch with me about podcasts, or I've been asked a lot of questions about creating a podcast. And so I wanted to offer another opportunity to share on how you, as as a leader, as someone who has a message, or as an expert, however you want to see yourself, and you want to create a podcast, this is a great opportunity to get your message out. Now, let me just give you a little background history. I don't do a lot of slides for certain things. I don't do a lot of slides because I really just want to talk to you about it. It's more of a step by step overview of what you can, of the things that you can accomplish and do, or how to do certain things. So I will share my screen from time to time to show you some things. But I wanted to basically give you my backstory on how I actually created a YouTube channel, and then actually use some of those things to actually start a podcast. And so I'm so sorry, my daughter is calling and she is in Miami, so I just need to let her know that I'm and sorry about that. I just had a feeling she was going to do that. Anyway, so I like to always answer when my children call. But anyway, um, yes, so I back in 2021, I wanted to share my story of an illness that I had been diagnosed with, and I felt the call and pull of God to do so. And the reason why was because I felt like my faith was being challenged. At one point, I felt like that I couldn't. Um, I don't know. I felt like it was that I was the problem. That something was wrong with me. That I didn't have enough faith. Because when you read the Word of God, it talks about you hear a lot of times the according to your faith, so be it unto you, or do you believe, and so I was very challenged by what I was going through physically, and how it just really put me in a place of I was the mobility wasn't there like it used to be. It was hard to walk and do a lot of things that I normally would do. Couldn't work, didn't work. And so it was really challenging because I've always been a go-getter. I've always excelled at my in my career. And so, so much upward mobility. And so to then get to a place after I turned 50, that in actually it was top of 2019 when it really started getting aggressive, and then 2020 and 2021. And so anyway, I shared my story on my birthday in September 21, and I just called it Sister Story. So I did a lot of promo behind it. And when I say I don't know if it was really promo, it was more marketing, just awareness that I was going to release something on September 5th. And I called it Sister Story. And it was going to be my story as a sister. So I decided to do that, and I shared it. It was live from my brother's living room, and my parents were there with me. My siblings was there. My daughter was there. Two of my cousins were there because I needed that support. Because honestly, it was the physical part of it that was so hard to deal with, but it was also the mental piece of it that was so challenging. And when you go through things like that, you're like, I can't be alone in this. And I talked to my sister-in-law, and I remember telling her, I was like, I feel like I need to share this with somebody else. And so I remember posting about what I was dealing with, and it was called hydradenitis suppurativa. And so the moment I posted, I had some people get in my inbox, and one was a play nephew of mine who's like, Auntie, like he had a friend in New York who was going through the same thing. She was a young woman, and she didn't tell. a lot of people, because it's just not something that you want to tell people about. Who wants to talk about being sick? But anyway, so and we talked. She wanted to know if we could talk here and there, and we did. And then I saw other people. It's like sometimes when you share what for us can really feel like a story um of defeat, and maybe not defeat, but of despair. It can actually identify with someone who's going through it, and they need to know that they're not alone. And I'm so grateful that I shared that story, because what happened after that, I wanted to continue to talk, not necessarily about that particular disease, but I just wanted to talk about how to overcome it emotionally, how to just talk through things, how to be able to share your story and be of encouragement to someone. Because what I realized is that sharing that story and just even making the post before I actually went live about it, how it just really it it gave somebody else hope, that it lets somebody know that they're not alone in their journey, right? And so that's a beautiful reason, in my opinion, to start a podcast, is because it can really help someone else. And what a blessing it is to serve someone else. And so from there, it turned into a YouTube channel that I call Sister Story Sessions. I invited two friends that the Lord laid on my heart. I invited them to be a part of it, and they said yes. I had two guests to come on. Well, I had someone to come on and co-host with me when one of the other ladies couldn't do it. Then I interviewed another sister who was an author to talk about her book, and we were old friends from back in the day, and we reconnected, and it ended up that we did something live. That was September 5th in 2021 when I went live. But then I started doing these weekly shows virtually through StreamYard. I'm going to talk about that too. And then we did something live. I just wanted to bring them together. And we did something live in Memphis on December 11th, 2021. And from that point on, we knew we needed to do this regularly together. And so it became a show of five women co-hosting a show, and we just talked about any and everything we could about our lives. We brought on guests a few times here and there. We brought on guests quite often, actually. But it was a really great format, and there is going to be a resurgence of it in 2027, if not winter 2026. So I'm really excited about sharing this with you, because I believe we all have a message, and podcasting is a great way to get your message out to those who need it. Because the truth of the matter is, someone does need to hear your story. My story may not resonate with everybody, but and it's not meant to. It's only meant to resonate with those it's meant to resonate with. And so that's my backstory. And so again, this workshop is for those who really if you have an idea, you feel a little stuck in it, and but you want to you have something to share, right? And so my goal is that you'll walk away with a great understanding of um, how to start, what tools that you can use, because there are a lot of AI tools out there now, a lot of AI tools. And I feel like I've taken some courses that I paid for, but I've also done some free master classes or joined some summits that cost very little. But it can be so overwhelming, because you say, okay, so do I need to use this for this? Do I need to use this AI tool for this? Do I do an AI clone or AI twin, as some people call it, to do my podcast, or how do I do it? But our goal today is to not be overwhelming. So I love training, and I used to be a computer trainer. I used to teach Microsoft Office and other software to people at banks, MLGW, just different entities, corporations, and so we start with basic, advanced, basic, intermediate, and advanced, right? So this is going to be very basic today, just very, very basic. And if you want to go deeper, there is a way that we can work together one-on-one, or you can, or in a group, however. But if you want to go deeper, there is going to be opportunity that I will offer you at the end of this training. So one of the first things you want to do, and while I'm talking, I'm going to bring up this other piece that I think you um, on how to get your website into, I mean, not your website, Lord Jesus, your podcast. Get your podcast into other platforms. All right. And so let's jump into it. So one of the first things that you want to do is, and I'm just going to create a banner here. Um, Number one, you want to clarify your message. So y'all, this is real in real time what I'm doing. So number one, you want to clarify your message, okay? So um and what does that mean? So before AI, you want to really kind of think about the purpose of your podcast. You want to think about, now I will tell you, sometimes the message is the main thing. Okay. The message is the main thing. But here's some ways to define your podcast purpose, and this, it can be centered around, do you have a personal brand? Are you working on building a personal brand? Is it for business growth? Is it for ministry? Is it for storytelling? So some people talk just about personal brand. Some people just talk about business. Some people talk about wealth. Some people talk about ministry. So there are a lot of different things you can talk about. I started out talking about just sharing my story, and for people that we brought on, and for the ladies that were part, we all had an opportunity to share our story. And so whatever the topic was, we used real life. We were just sharing transparently how we dealt with things, how we got through things. We use scripture because it is a faith based. It's based on biblical principles. So it's based. We're Bible based and we were faith based, and so we shared scriptures. We shared our journey. I shared about how I went through divorce. We talked about how we raised children. So we knew we were more of a storytelling ministry kind of platform. So that's what Sister Story Sessions was. So we knew our audience. So the second thing is, when you're clarifying your message, you want to know your audience. Okay, so the first thing, so clarifying your message is the big thing, right? Clarifying your podcast vision. That's the first thing. And underneath that, you want to be able to define the purpose of your podcast. The second thing you want to do is identify your audience. Who is your audience? Well, for us, with Sister Story Sessions, it was other women. And we really did target 35 and older because we figured at 35, someone may have kids, they may have teenagers or going into kids going into teenagehood. But we had done the gamut because most of us had kids who were in their 20s or early 30s, and so and some still at teenager stage. And so we knew that we could talk to moms out there. We knew we could talk to women. We knew we could talk to married women. We knew we could talk to divorced women. So but we did have this age gap, this age group that we realized, okay, let's go 35 to and up. But when we did the data, because I'm a data person, I want to know who I'm talking to. I want to follow the data and see what the data is telling me so that I can do better, so we can plan better. But what data showed us is that women 40, I think it was like between ages 40 and 54, were our biggest segment of audience. And those are the ones who watched consistently on our YouTube channel. Okay. And when you do a YouTube channel, the podcast, what you do, I'll tell you all about that as we go deeper. But so YouTube can be visual. As you see, I'm not on camera today, but I can download the audio of this video, and the tool I'm using to do this recording is StreamYard. I love StreamYard better than Zoom. I have my reasons. I do Zoom for one-on-one meetings. I can even use StreamYard for one-on-one meetings. I use Google Meet for one-on-one meetings. But I really like StreamYard because it's easy to attach your destination where you want this to go. Now, when you get ready to, after you record your podcast, what you do then is you download the actual recording, the audio only, and then you upload that to a platform where you can then distribute the podcast, okay, or distribute that recording of your podcast. And so, okay, so you under clarifying your message, you got defining your podcast purpose, you have identifying your audience, you have choosing a podcast theme or niche, and that's what I just talked about with the ladies and I, the sister story sessions. And then you want to name it. And so you may get some family members, some good friends, and have a brainstorm session around it. And this is one of the things I do in my coaching too, though, or my one-on-one sessions, strategy sessions with folks is we actually do a lot of brainstorming. So what could this be? So we do a lot of vision casting, if you will. Um, and so, what I would encourage you to do under clarifying your podcast vision on this message, I would encourage you to really just jot down podcast ideas. You may already have it, and that's really great. Um, but I do feel like you just need to hone in on what it is you really want to talk about. And I knew, even in sharing the story of HS, there are a lot of channels out there that deal with HS, and that's not what I wanted to do because I didn't want to highlight a disease, right? My goal was to get through it and overcome it. And so my the theme end up being for sister story sessions is how to get through real life issues, right? Using the word of God, using your faith, using your community. And so that was really the theme of it. We're going to tell stories of sisters who overcome, who triumph. We're going to tell real stories of how we've been in some dark places and dark spaces, but how through faith and through prayer, through faith, we got through it, right? And so, all right. So the second thing, so the podcast idea. So draft your podcast idea and draft your target audience. Who are you going to be speaking to? Put an age group on it. Is it all high level women that you're going after? With women in position, that's one of the things I go after: high achieving women who like, because I like to be around people. I like to speak to people who are ready to do more. And when I say do more, not be busy, but to expand where they are, to go higher in themselves, personal development, professional development. Like, how can you get better? How can you do more to be better so that you can touch more people, reach more people, effectuate change, right? Um, that's the goal with women in position. And so I'm going to be telling stories because we're doing a whole revamp of a women in position podcast as well. But we're going to be telling stories of women who have achieved much great success in their career and how faith was a part of their journey, because I believe that that's really, really critical, and how they leaned on God, or continue to lean on God to guide them. Like, how are you being guided by your faith through your everyday leadership and work? And so we speak to women leaders when it comes to women in position. Okay. So that's another example. Okay. So after you clarify your message, I want to talk about how AI can fit um, your into podcasting. Okay. So here are great things that I use AI for. Now I use Chat GPT because I've trained it to know my voice. I've written a few devotionals, and I've given it my bio, I've given it my resume. It knows how I talk. So I love ChatGPT personally. I did like Claude as well, but I trained ChatGPT so well that I don't want to switch to any other platform right now. So what AI can actually do and what it shouldn't do. So you definitely want to you can use it for brainstorming ideas, right? It can create an outline. It created this outline that I'm using today for me because I told it what I wanted to cover, and it gave me a detailed outline, right, to help so that I can stay in my time frames and not go over. Because I can have a tendency to do that when I'm just free flowing, right? And so it gives me a good guide to go by so that I don't overextend or overstayed and go too long. So anyway, key uses for brainstorming, writing outlines, and even scripts. That's right. You can even use it for scripts. You can definitely use it for editing and repurposing content. And I really like that because when you create your podcast, you can actually take your, if you use StreamYard like I do, you can take you can download the transcript, right? And then you can drop that into chat and say, hey, create me three good LinkedIn posts and three great three posts that will work great on Facebook, three posts that will work great on LinkedIn to promote the podcast so that people can go and click on my podcast, whether it's on the YouTube channel or whether it's in Apple or wherever, but you want them to download that podcast. You want them to stream that podcast. So you can use the content again by just downloading the text, the transcription, uploading it to Chat GPT or whatever. You can use Claude, whichever platform is easier for you, and tell it what to do and to promote your event or, I mean, your podcast. So I think it's the greatest thing ever because I've been doing this for a long time and I didn't have well, since 2021 and 2022 and so on and so forth. But before I ever started using Chat GPT, I had to come up with everything. I came up with all the questions for our show. I came up with all the designs, all the thumbnails. That was me. I would brainstorm, right? And sometimes I would get the ladies to help me and say, "Hey, what do y'all want to talk about this week?" And then I just create questions, and I was like, "Hey, y'all got any questions y'all want to add to it that we can, so that we can have a really great conversation." We may not get to every question, but so I did have help. And so again, brainstorming, but AI can help you with that. So whichever AI tool you use, I do, there's OpenClaw, there's Notebook LM, there are things that you can do with all of those things. But my goal in this workshop was to not overwhelm you with tech. Like just one. You can use one thing. Now I do create my thumbnails in Canva. You can create them in chat. I like to create my thumbnails, but I wanted to show that you can create them in chat. And so the thumbnail for this particular video that you're watching, when it's over, you will see that this thumbnail, I created it in Chat GPT. I took the initial flyer. I created the flyer in Chat GPT. I typically would just do that in Canva. Now, personally, I don't like Canva AI as much. I don't use Canva AI for designs because I'm always dissatisfied. It can never get it right for me. So I still create my own thumbnails or presentations through Canva, but I don't use their AI. But they do have a really great AI tool. I just don't like the the pieces that they give me. I'm very ticky, and so or particular, I should say. So anyway, the editing and repurposing content, the marketing support. Um, so Chat GPT for me helps me with the planning and the scripting. I don't really do a lot of scripting, I will tell you that, but I do a lot of the outlining, and I will ask more questions or ask it like, how can I shorten this or, but speaking into it is so great because We can type our thoughts out, but when we just talk to it and tell it what we really want, I think it gives back greater input. And again, though, you do have to train it. And so, and there's a way to do that under your settings. You can tell it the voice you kind of want to use. When I say voice, meaning the tone, the what you like and what you don't like. But again, I think that if you have a paper or a resume or something else that you've done, you can train it to know your voice and move forward that way. All right. So here's the other thing. Next is using AI to actually create the podcast content. Now, um, so you can generate your episodes. So say you're going to talk about um, baking, because some of you are really great cooks or bakers. You love baking, you love cooking, and so you're gonna do that. And I just want to stop and say this too. There is, a lot of times we hear that the market is so saturated, or a lot of people are doing this. A lot of people have cooking channels already. Da da da. It really doesn't matter how many people have whatever. Like it really doesn't, because there is space for us all in this digital world. Everything is global. Like you can go global easy. We went global with Sister Story Sessions. We were, the last time I counted, in 29 countries, and we had regular viewers in the UK, China, Nigeria. Like it's just so cool to then have people comment on your posts who are from other countries, and even to host workshops. I've hosted master classes where people from all over the world attended, and that was just really powerful. So your message, so my message got out there, which is great, but also I got to serve people. When I did the Destined Women, the gathering. We had people from all over the world. And I just thought that was so cool. And then we did a different, we've done so many master classes because I love serving people in the way God has given me to serve them. And so sharing a message of hope, giving people hope, and I speak to women in particular. Um, and so just know that when you decide that you're going to do this, do it through a heart of a servant. Okay. And yes, there's also an opportunity to make money doing this as well. And so, but one of the things that I think is so great about AI, specifically Chat GPT, is generating episode ideas. Now, one of the things that I love about Chat that's new, it's not necessarily new, but when it first did it, it didn't really have this great memory that it has now. And I think I'm in 5.0, and I pay for Chat. I pay $65 a month because there's somebody else in our business that uses it too. I have another business. So anyway, but it's definitely worth it in every sense of the word. It's worth every dime, worth every penny. You can search your chats once you do it. You can create agents, but again, that's more complex. It's not complex, not seriously complex, but I don't use agents just yet because I don't want to. Um, but once I learn that, I will definitely share that, learn how to use it with podcasting. I just haven't done that yet. I know different ways you can use it, but I haven't done that yet. And then you have Codex, you have Deep Research, which I really, really love. When I really want to know something around marketing, sales psychology, I can do some deep research. And that takes a little longer to output, but it's definitely worth it because you'll get the information that you're really looking for. But the really great part that I love about ChatGPT, what it's done is incorporated projects. So you can literally, create a project for your podcast, and it could be the beginning stage one, and then you can have a project for each month, right, of your podcast for June, and create all your episodes within that in that project folder, which is really cool. So it will generate episode ideas for you. You can create episode titles. that attract listeners. Because what chat can do is you can say, okay, based on high performing podcasts that are out there, what podcasts um, do you think, based on my niche, um, what show me what podcasts perform best, and or the top 10, and then you can learn something. Again, I'm sure you've heard, don't reinvent the wheel, right? You just go do it. And so so you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use chat to show you the top 10 high performing podcasts in your niche, and it'll tell you, you can go listen to those, and it can give you ideas around. Again, you don't want to copy, but you can gather ideas from those that are really working and doing really, really well. All right, so you want to create, so you can ask chat to create the episode titles. You can ask it to create your thumbnails for your YouTube channel. It can create your podcast covers. I use Canva to do that. However, and Canva AI can do that as well. And but Chat GPT, if you can create your podcast cover, you tell it the dimensions, and it will know what to do and will do it for you based on your podcast. So you can have a podcast cover, and then you can have an episode cover too for each episode that you do on your podcast. So you don't have to use the podcast cover all the time. Um, and so it can build your episode outlines. It can do the scripting versus bullet point. However you want, or if you want bullet points, it can do bullet points. Okay. So you can turn one idea into 5 episode titles. You can create an outline and an intro script. I do think an intro script is good. Again, with podcasting, it's generally some podcasts go an hour. On YouTube, I would say yes, go for it, because you can then create shorts from that. So it's a lot of information, but next time I will probably do more sharing of my screen. I just don't have a lot of things up right now to do that. Well, I think I can show you. Um, Let me see if I can. I don't think I can do it because I have StreamYard open, so I can't show you. But I can go to my YouTube channel. Let me go to my YouTube channel, and I just want to show you um, some. Let me go to a different account. I'll go to Sister Story Sessions, and I'm going to share my screen and show you. Um, Go to View Channel. Actually, I'm going to go to YouTube Studio. Well, I can go to channel, and I'm going to show you shorts. Okay, so let me share my screen right quick. I want to show you this. All right, so I'm going to share my screen. You should see this. This is Sister Story Sessions. And of course, you have Place for Home, all your videos there. And I have an intro video. And then it has all the videos that I've done. I do playlists. I do have a playlist out there about healing. And then I have the shorts. And so we have several shorts out here. And so what I like about using StreamYard is that I could take our videos in StreamYard, again, one of the tools that we use, and create I can generate through AI. I can generate shorts and clips that can go to Instagram. It can go to um, YouTube Shorts. It can go to Facebook. You can go to your story. And so there's so much you can do. Just so much you can do. Um, and again, if you want to go deep with this, I can definitely show you how to do that. But that's just one of the things. Now, I do want to jump right quick and just show you Buzzsprout. Let me see if I can share this tab with you. Buzzsprout is the platform that I use to actually upload my podcast. And so if you go to now, you this is a paid thing. I don't believe you can do it for free. I pay 19.99 a month, and it holds all of my podcasts. And so, since I just started over, I have two out there, and so I'm with. I haven't gotten listed with iHeart and YouTube yet because I don't really need to get listed with YouTube because I can just easily do that because YouTube has a place for podcasts as well. So I have Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and Google Play is no longer available. I used to be on Google Play as well, but I have been on iHeartRadio before. I just have to get the RSS feed to work for me. But so all of this, like, it's a lot to show, um, but Buzzsprout is the tool, or is the platform that I use to upload the podcast so that people can listen to it and download it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and eventually on iHeart Radio as well. Okay. So I just wanted to show you those things so that you know that there's more to it than if you want to actually hit a different market that listen to podcasts. And so I actually had a millennial ask me. She said, "Well, I don't get to watch the YouTube channel." She said, "So I love." She said, "But I love listening to podcasts. So if you can put your podcast on," and that was one of the reasons why I started doing Buzzsprout, or using that platform to get on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, because some people love to listen to, instead of radio, they listen to podcasts. And they'll listen to it on iHeartRadio. They'll listen to it through Amazon Music. They'll listen to it through Apple Podcasts. But a lot of people use Apple Podcasts, and therefore they can listen while they're driving. They can listen while they're working. They can listen while they're working out. And so there's just so much opportunity there. And so that's where I am. Like, I have to get better in doing that. So that's one of the things that I'm working on as well, when I move forward, as I'm revamping Women in Position podcast to really push it, and the resurgence of Sister Story Sessions. So yeah, so these are the things you can use your AI for, is to create episode ideas. So I would challenge you to get ChatGPT, Claude, whatever um, tool you like best to use to create your content, or to help you with your content, your episode ideas. Just ask it to help you, and it will generate for you. And the thing is, even though it generates some things for you, some episode ideas, and it may draft an outline, you always have the opportunity to say, okay, I don't like the way that's stated. Maybe I'll try this. So I don't like just copy and paste from chat. No, I have to put my own. If it doesn't output what I want, I just change it. I just change it. But what I love about it is that it will give you some really great starting points, something to work with, is what I say. It gives you something to work with. Okay. All right. So the next thing is recording and structuring your podcast. Again, like, how do you want to do it? Do you want to be solo? Do you want to do interview? Do you want to teach? And then some of the, so figure out, do you want to do this solo? For me, I love being able to have conversation. So I love conversation. So I like to have a co-host. So right now I am in search of a co-host for Women in Position as I revamp it. And so because I like conversation, and I'm actually looking for, I know, anyway, that's neither here nor there. But at the end of the day, I don't want to do it solo anymore. I don't want to do it solo. I believe there's so much good in having a co-host, and then doing interview style. I love that. Now with solo, sometimes I may do a solo. Like, I've done solos, right? With the Buzzsprout, you saw that I had 2 episodes out there, and that was just solo, me teaching, and that was just I was just teaching. I was just teaching something that was on my heart, sharing, and and let me see, what was it? Let me go back to my episodes. Yeah, embracing your divinity, and then I spoke on those like 30 minutes, and emotional healing, and what that looks like, right? And that was like 16 minutes. And so you can determine how long your podcast is. Again, with YouTube, long form is good because you can create so many shorts from it. Even with your audio, when you download it, with podcasts, if I did an hour show, I would probably do a part one and a part two. That way I can take care of two podcasts at one time, or I can have two episodes rather at one time. And do a part one and part two, because people tend to listen 20 to 30 minutes as opposed to an hour on a podcast, unless it's a really great conversation happening, right? But if you're doing teaching, I would say break it up and do two parts, do a part one and a part two. Go on and record the hour, but have a great stopping point, because you can create audio clips as well in Buzzsprout that you can then promote your during on your social media platforms to drive people to your podcast. Okay. And then when you get ready to structure your podcast, you always want to have an intro. You want to have your main content, and if necessary, have a call to action. That call to action could be, please share. If you enjoyed this podcast, please share it with someone. Please share this link. That's a simple call to action. It doesn't cost people anything to share, and they'll be helping you, and they'll be helping serve others. I used to tell people on our sister story sessions, and even when I preach on our virtual platform and for our church, I always say, this is your opportunity to be an evangelist and spread the word. Just hit like, comment, just hit like, make a comment, and then share. Because that's one way you can evangelize. You can share this message on your social media platform, and someone who may need it will click on it and get this word that they need. Okay. So it's just a simple call to action. I believe everything we do should have a simple call to action to it. A simple like, okay? Simple subscribe to my YouTube channel. A simple, make sure you download this podcast and share, future podcasts with people. All right. And so I will tell you that in terms of your setup, you know, you can use your phone um, versus a phone versus microphone. Now, I believe I'm big again on using microphones because you get a better sound. So I have a mic on now. I'm mic'd. Hopefully, this green light is still on. It is. Because the sound comes through clear, and you want a crisp sound. So even though you can use if you're doing this, you can actually buy a podcast mic if you like. I have real mics that I would use sometimes, but I like the lapel mics. And you can use the other mics as props. You can buy a fake mic and use it as a prop if you like to. But you want to make sure that you have the space to do this. And honestly, people don't really pay attention to all the stuff that's behind you, um, your surroundings. They don't really pay much attention to that. They're really listening to what you're saying. And so if your message is really good, they're listening to what you're saying. Okay. All right. So we're about to wrap it up. One of the others, I think I already talked about promotion of how to promote your using AI to promote your podcast, right? So you can turn one episode into multiple pieces of content. Like I mentioned before, you can create social media posts. You can download that transcript, ask Chat GPT or whatever, Claude, whoever you're going to use, ask it to create social media posts for you. Now, um, there are certain posts that do well on LinkedIn versus Facebook. Now, so because with Women in Position podcast that we're revamping, because I'm speaking to women in leadership and about how they lead, about their journey in their career, then that LinkedIn post that post is going to read a certain kind of way. when I do it on Facebook, and if I do it on Facebook, because I may just promote it on LinkedIn because that's where, you know, business happens. And I think of that more of as a business B2B and a B2C kind of thing, more B2B than B2 business to business as opposed to business to customers or clients. It's definitely both, but there's a different, you know, there's a different feel on Facebook than there is on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a more polished kind of like I'm showing all my business stuff, but on Facebook I may show I can show business stuff, but it's the language is different because Facebook is more it's just more easy, right? And so you don't it's just easy. It's a different message in my opinion. Sometimes it can work for both. So you can use one message for both. You just ask chat to like, hey, make this make 5 posts for me that that can promote this podcast, identify what stands out in this transcript and make 5 posts for me that I can use on both LinkedIn and Facebook. So you can tell it, you know, not to do it separately. I personally tell it to do it separately. Like I want one for LinkedIn and then I want one for Facebook and IG, Instagram. So so just know you can do that. You can help ask it to, it can create the captions for you. It can create it can even create the image for you if you wanted to. I personally still do my images in Canva myself. um and then of course you can do email blurbs. You can do you can write the show notes. Like for YouTube, in the description down there, those are called the show notes. So you can ask it to write a great description of your podcast, what it's about. You can ask it to create the thumbnail that will attract the right audience that you're looking for, and you can tell it what your audience is so that it can actually create that thumbnail. All right. And so one of the exercises that you can do is take your episode, or you know, create one social post, one caption, and one short description using your preferred AI tool. Again, mine is Chat GPT. Of course, I do love Claude too. I think it's just as great. I just don't feel like going and training it right now. But I think I will go back to it at some point. Use both of them. I love Notebook LM. I also use Google Gemini, Nano Banana for images. Use that as well, and just so many tools out there. But if you want to, if you're a beginner, I say stick with one to start, and then master it, and then learn others as you go along that can help you um, create what you're really wanting. Okay. All right. And so here's the last couple of pieces of this that I wanted to share with you today is consistency, confidence, and your next steps. So if you really feel like you know, don't let what I realize is that I majored in computer science and mathematics. So I'm an analytical person. I love numbers and I love data. And I love strategy. I love learning. But I do know that if I can feel overwhelmed about some of the AI things that are out there, others can too. And so my real concern was, or my real desire with with this uh, quick overview, step by step workshop was to really just say, listen, you can find one AI tool and use it and be successful in creating your podcast. You don't need 10 AI tools. You just don't. Like there are some things that are being taught, you just don't need that. Because people say, okay, then you can go drop it here, and then you go drop this here, and then you go drop this in this tool, and then you take this tool and do this. That's so much. And I believe in keeping life as simple as possible, no complexity here. So if you can find it and do it all in one, then do it all in one, right? So because you don't have to be tech savvy, because that can slow you down, that can stop you from getting your message out. And so when you say you don't have time, or you know, how do I find the time? But you can, like, you literally. Like, just for an example, for our business, when I post on LinkedIn, I tend to do so on Sunday nights, and I may post 3 or 4 times a week on LinkedIn, right? Um, um, Providing that nothing happens that prevents me from doing it. And there are sometimes I don't post, but I do try to post at least once a week on LinkedIn, because not a lot of percentage of people on LinkedIn actually post. They go and scroll, which is cool too, because they may come across something you say and want to work with you. Who knows, right? Or find it interesting. That's how I landed. Well, I like to write articles on leadership because I'm an expert in leadership. I've grown in my career through that, and I didn't wait for someone to tell me I was a leadership expert. I've had my presidents of companies to tell me that I was a great leader, and I appreciated that. But I decided that I was a great leader. I didn't wait for anybody to tell me I was. I knew I was. I've made mistakes along the way, and I have learned so many lessons that I know can be helpful to others. And so I'm working on my first leadership book, and I'm excited about it. It's called Leadership at Every Level, or Building Leaders at Every Level. I have to fine tune it, but using my proprietary framework too. So anyway, I say that to say that I take a Sunday afternoon, a Sunday evening, and maybe for 2 hours, I use chat and I say, okay, this is what I want to talk about as a leadership expert. Or this is the story that I want to talk about, because a lot of times I post about my past leadership experiences. I talk about team dynamics, and I talk about them from my experience. So I tell chat my story, and then I ask it to write it out for me. It doesn't always get it the way I want it, so I go in and edit it, and then I post it. I schedule my post so that I can have the time to do it. It's like, okay, I'm going to carve out and set aside 2 hours on Sunday evening to work on posts that I can then schedule for LinkedIn, right? And so it's one and done at that in that moment. So just a couple of hours out of my week, and I can make that happen, because that's where I find business, on LinkedIn. And so you could do it with any platform. You can schedule all of your social media platforms. So also your social media posts, I mean. And so as you promote your podcast, you can just decide when you're going to record it. You got to set aside the time, figure out the topics, all of that, set aside the time and actually record it, and then create the shorts, all of that. So they'll, you know, um, so the main tools you'll use is StreamYard for sure. Um, uh, YouTube, maybe. You can still use StreamYard and record your podcast without video, and just download the audio, upload it to Buzzsprout, and then create the distribution to the different um, podcast platforms that you want to use. Okay, so you can literally create your own rhythm for this, and that really is the goal, like figuring out when is best for you to do it. Okay. And lastly, the last thing I want to just share with you is that I just want to invite you, rather, because I think I did the recap of what tools you use. I use StreamYard to record. I use StreamYard to record. I use and in StreamYard you set your destinations. And I have Facebook on there as a destination, my YouTube channels, my IG channels. So I can show you that. Matter of fact, let me just share well, no, I can't show you that because because I'm in StreamYard, and so I can't show it to you because I can't come out the studio. But in StreamYard, I probably will do a screenshot next time and then show you that screenshot. But if you want to work with me one on one with your podcast, I'm going to, like, this was an overview. Okay. So if you want to work with me one on one, for to create your individual podcast, um, and we won't not to create all your episodes and things like that, but to learn the tools and learn what you need to learn on that end, and even to help you with your first episode, podcast episode. Yes, I am available to help you with that. Okay. You can ask all the questions. I love to do that one on one. I prefer to do it one on one because everybody's a little different, right? And so, and I think there, I have a client, or had a client, who, I don't, she hasn't started her podcast yet, but she is, well, her YouTube channel. She's working on a YouTube channel, and has a great, wonderful idea for her YouTube channel. And but we talked through it. We had like maybe 2 to 3. I think we had 3 sessions. We talked through what we brainstormed, actually. So she knew basically what she wanted to talk about, but just having someone else to guide you through the tools, and then to actually guide you through maybe that first episode, is so helpful, because we talk about how to promote it, where to promote it. We talk about what's the messaging. I mean, there's just so much, like everything that we talked about today. The one-on-one support would be so helpful to many of you. Um, to actually do it, because you can go back and listen to a video, and even if I could share, let me see if I can share this. So you saw my StreamYard thing. Let's see. Not showing. No, it won't show. It won't allow me to show uh, this tab that I'm on. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's not very difficult to do, but it is helpful to have someone. Had to learn all this on my own. And I was very grateful, because I've just been patient, because I used to teach, like as I mentioned before, I taught things on this level. And so, I mean, software development. And so I taught people how to do things in different softwares. And so this is my gift, and I like to share it with those who need it. And so if you're interested in working one-on-one, I would love to work with you. You can actually reach out to me at so you can reach out to me at Renee at abrfirmmemphis.com. You can reach out to me at abrfirmmemphis.com. Renee, that's our business. So you can just reach out to me, and I would love to help you start your podcast. I would love to help you and give you one-on-one guidance. We can have a great brainstorming session with the flip chart and everything, like, because it's a lot. This would take me 3 hours to go through everything you need to go through today. Like, step one, here, let's go here, let's go here. And so yeah. But I did show you Buzzsprout. I showed you, Chat GPT, how to use it. We talked about that. And I believe I've given you as much as I can to help you get. This is enough for you to definitely get started. So definitely use AI to help you with your episodes, to help you create your first episode. Use AI to create your image for your podcast, your podcast cover, and then you can also use it to create your episode 1 uh, cover. So, because you can upload those in Buzzsprout. And let me just show that. Let me go back to Buzzsprout. See, go back to my dashboard. I want to show you um, what it looks like. What it looks like, if I can. And let me share my screen just so you can see what I mean about the podcast cover versus okay. So up here, and I think you see, yeah, you can see it. Okay, so here where it has women in position, this is the podcast cover image. And then for emotional healing, I created a a episode image cover. So, right. And so it allows you to talk about what the show is. You can share the link on your Facebook, share a link to the episode. You can direct link to audio, embed an audio player. You can share it on LinkedIn. You create your sound bite. And let me see if I can go to the other one. I think that I don't see the sound bite, but so this lets you know it's published when I published it. And so here I just used the podcast cover as the episode cover as well. But in the other episode, I actually created a totally in the other episode, Emotional Healing, I created a separate episode cover. Okay. So there's just so much you can do. There's so much you can do. And I would love to help you and work one-on-one. And I love that it gives you all these opportunities to uh, put your other social links so people can know where to find you and connect with you. Um, and so eventually you can monetize when you reach a certain status. You can also monetize on YouTube, which is really great as well. And so I say if when you get to that place and space, you can do that. That is a great thing. Okay. So thank you so much for listening in. If you want to work with me, just hit me up. You can DM me or you can put it in the comments. I'd love to work with you. The fee is not much at all to work with me. It's only $500, $497. If you want help creating your podcast, it's $497. Let me just put that on a banner. A one-on-one podcasting session. Our fee is only $497. And I can tell you that's a one-on-one, Lord. That's not what that is. Edit. I use the exclamation points. Oh my goodness. Isn't it crazy? So anyway, it's a one-on-one podcasting session for $497. And I'd love to help you. I'd love to show you exactly what you need to do. It would probably, we probably spend 3 hours together. And so that can be broken up as I do with clients. I kind of break that up into 3 sessions. Or we can do 2 1.5 hour sessions and we can get it done. We can get it done. You'll have your podcast title, you'll have your first episode, you'll have your graphic, because we're going to show you how to do all of that. Your first podcast outline, um, or episode outline rather. So you just have it all together. And so I love to help people do that, so they can get their message out into the world. So if you're interested, reach out to me, Renee at abrfirmmemphis.com. Or if you found me on social, or if you found me on YouTube, just click I would love to work with you. And I will reach out to schedule a Google Meet so we can have a short conversation and talk the dates when we can actually meet and have a session. All right. Okay. Thank you so much for listening and joining. I really appreciate it. And I wish you the best. And let me tell you something. Your message needs to be heard by somebody. Somebody needs to know they're not alone in their journey and that someone else has experienced it or is going through it and that they can get past it just like you have. So I do encourage you. I definitely encourage you to, if you have something to say, child, just say it. Don't say it. Put it out there and help somebody else get free. All right. Until next time, God bless. All right.